Check 1, 2. Hello, hello, hello. I don't know if you guys can see me. I can't see myself, but that's all. Oh, there I am, popped up. Hey everybody, welcome back to another live stream. I haven't done one of these for months and months and months. I figured it was time to get back on the streaming train. Miss talking to you guys live in person. So I figured today's as good a day as ever. Let's get back to this. So how are you guys doing? What's going on this Friday? I'm glad that the week has come to an end, and there's a big hockey game here. Well, not here. My hockey team's playing tonight, so that's the first thing to kick off my weekend. So, welcome everyone. And why is everyone saying that they didn't know my name is Steve? Why? Where did I post that information? That is my name, in fact. But did I say that? I can't even remember. Did I say, "Hey guys, Steve here"? I don't know. But yeah, that is my name. So anyway, what's going on today? I want to answer some of your guys' questions. I want to make this as interactive as possible. So if you guys have anything that's pressuring or that's pressing, any concerns you guys got about what I'm doing, any questions you have, anything like that, I'm happy to respond. If my one request is that if you want me to comment on like a band or an album or a song or anything like that, just let me know your thoughts first. To me, that's a much more interesting way of sparking a conversation than just saying, "Hey, what do you think of Jimi Hendrix?" Yeah, there's a lot to digest there. There's a lot to say. So let me know. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna start reading this chat here. Hello everyone. Hello Lucas Mart. Hello Aaron VD Starin. Hello Afan Siddiqui. Become the Night. My man Mike. Hello everyone. Would you say the Fender Strat is good? I'm guessing you're saying the Fender Strat. I've got a Strat. I love it. I mean, I think it's a very serviceable instrument, and there's a reason why it's been around for, 50, 60 some years. It's raining for you because I'm in St. Anne and it hasn't stopped. Yeah, Owen Hoffer says it's raining in St. Anne, and St. Anne is just a little bit north of where I am. And yes, it certainly is raining here, which is great because it's been incredibly dry lately. What are your thoughts on Keith Richards? I think he's a bit overrated, says the Denver Avengers vlog. I don't know if he's overrated. I mean, he's extremely like one of the most successful guitarists, but I don't think a lot of people say Keith Richards, hey, he's one of the most technically proficient guitar players. They say he's, I mean, he's great in the sense that he has had a huge impact on the landscape of guitar. I think his riffs influence every aspect of rock and roll music that's come about in the last, quite a long time. Everybody in one way or another has been influenced by the Rolling Stones. Guns N' Roses, for example, deeply influenced by the Stones. Aerosmith, deeply influenced by the Stones. And then you have all the bands today that were influenced by those guys. All comes back to the Rolling Stones. I think he's an incredible riff writer, and I love his work. I'm a big fan of Keith Richards. Have you ever been in a band? Yes, I've been in a, oh man, my chat just jumped way down. Someone said, have you ever been in a band? I can't find it. Yes, I have been in a lot of bands. I miss playing in bands, but something that I have going now. I think eventually I would like to, one of my goals with this whole Samurai Guitarist thing is to start doing clinics. I've been meaning to set one up here, but I just haven't got around to it. But one of my goals is to start doing clinics, and I think to do that I would start just like doing stuff where I'm talking, playing guitar along with like some of the tracks that I've recorded, and then like the tracks like Cybeam and all those things. Remove the guitar part, play the track for you, and then eventually as that grows, I would like to be able to do that same thing with a live band. So it's something that I'd like to get back into again. Strat or Tele, different purposes. I like them both. I use them both probably equally as much. I have a soft spot for the Tele just because that was my my first guitar that I saved up a long time for, and that's one that I continue to use very regularly. You guys see it all the time. Have I heard the new Arctic Monkeys record? I have not. Elliot Dankley says, I love Greta Van Fleet. What do you think of them? I think they're really cool. I haven't gone crazy about them just because, I mean, I haven't heard a ton of stuff, but like, if I was 15 again, I think I would have gone nuts for them. That was the time when I was really, really into getting into finding new music. Whereas now I'm a little bit more set in my ways. I think they're incredibly talented. The stuff I've heard to me sounds maybe a little too Zeppelin-y for me. If I wanted to hear that, I think I'd probably put on a Zeppelin record. And I think what makes Led Zeppelin so great is the fact that nobody sounded like them. When you first heard Led Zeppelin back in the 70s, not that I was there, I have a feeling people were like, hey, this is amazing because this is totally new. And I don't quite get that same feeling with Greta Van Fleet, just my opinion. But I should probably listen to more of them before forming a coherent opinion. My man, Mike had become the night. $10 in the super chat. Thank you so much, Mike. He says, just wanted to tell you you're awesome. Raising a whiskey glass to you. Mike, thank you so much. I love what you do as well. So much mutual respect there. And I will raise my sparkling water to you, my friend, and hope you have an awesome weekend down in Nashville. Okay, let's keep going. It says my stream health isn't doing that great. How's this looking for you guys? Am I on the right Wi-Fi network here? Yes, I am. So, I mean, this is as good as it's going to get on my end. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streams, so... Well, I hope it looks decent for you guys. I can't change anything on my end, so I'm just going to power through here. Let's do some more comments here. Oh, wow, this is a big one. Do you think we can ever achieve true equality among the people? Personally, I think we can come close, but it will never be achievable. I think you gotta, if you get into that debate, you gotta define true equality. Do I think we ever will? Probably not, but maybe we will. Depends on how you define equality. What do you prefer, good guitar or good amplifier? Well, I think maybe a good guitar, because like what I consider a bad guitar is one that's really tough to play, and that's just going to be fighting against you no matter how good the amplifier is. It's not going to help. What inspires you to make music videos, says Beetle Bros. That's a good question, and the answer to that has changed quite a bit since I started making videos. For me, when I first started making videos, it was the inspiration was to build a career. When I first started making music or just videos in general on YouTube, I had not a lot going on for me as far as like any sort of fan base, any sort of like promising creative experiences going on, like nothing like that was going on. So to me, that was a huge inspiration, getting an outlet for all these ideas that I had in my head and all these musical things. I wanted to get that into the world. And so that was a huge inspiration to do this. And now it changes. It's usually just like the idea. Getting excited about an idea inspires me, but also on top of that, it's like, I got to do this or else I'm not paying my bills. So that's also an inspiration, or not so much an inspiration, but that's more just like the necessity of life now. Like I gotta keep it going, but at the same time, I also love making the stuff that you guys see here, and seeing like the response is also so incredibly inspiring. Like hearing you guys, what you guys have to say about the videos, and just like meeting people, and them recognizing me on the street and telling me what they think is really cool too. And that's one of the reasons why I keep on doing this. Again, I'm getting some it's saying that there's some issues with my stream. Let me know if you guys are if it looks terrible on your end. In which case, I may have to do something. But if it's not, we'll just keep on powering through. Okay. let's hear, here's another question. Any musician you'd like to collaborate with? I mean, it's a massive, massive, massive list. There are lots off the top of my head. I think if I could sit down in a room with any musician right now at the snap of my fingers, I think I might want to say John Mayer. I think that would be, he's been one of my favorite guitar players and songwriters for a long time, and despite what some people might say about him, to me he seems like a pretty cool guy, so that would probably be the number one. Drew's View says, do a Beatles video, please. My good man, I have done a Beatles video. It was a long time ago. If you look it up, it's called Here Comes the Sun. I did a cover of that one, and it was a time lapse that I shot over like half an hour and then sped it up. So it was like 20 times as slow, and then I sped it up so you see the sunrise in the background. So I thought that one was pretty cool. What's next here? Any plans on doing more play-along tracks? Not for a competition or anything, but just for fun. So everything I do release, I do put out play-alongs to it. It's one of the rewards on Patreon. And yeah, that's to me the best place to release those. Patreon's a huge part of what I do, and just having like incentives for people to go over there is important to keep that going. What are my thoughts on Mateus Asado? I personally enjoy his very legato and slide-like embellishment, says Harrison. He's one of my favorite guitarists. That would be another guy, just like sitting in a room and jamming with him would probably be something that would be very, like a really cool experience. I think what I like most about him is he's obviously technically extremely proficient, but at the same time, his musical instinct and his taste is just off the charts too. So it's like the best of all worlds, and he's, whenever I'm without idea on guitar and I feel like I need some inspiration, I'll go to his Instagram page, watch a couple videos, and that's always, to me, a very, very inspiring thing to do. Christopher Sebastian says, how do you suggest getting better at reading music? Well, making an effort to do it is huge. I would imagine that if you're asking that question, you're making some sort of effort to begin with. Here's what I did when I was really trying to get better at reading music. I bought a book. It's this book right here called Selected Duets for Clarinet Volume 1. What I would do is I would just open it up, pick a random page, and put on the metronome and play through it. There's also some other books that I have that are specifically for guitar sight reading. These ones here, and I found these valuable too. There's Reading Studies for Guitar, positions 1 through 7, and then there's Advanced Reading Studies for Guitar, positions 8 through 12. These are good books as well. William Levitt, just Google that up, Amazon it up, Advanced or Reading Studies for Guitar. And just like making an effort every day to do it is the big thing, and trying don't go too fast, just do it slow at first and find a threshold where it's challenging but not too difficult. Besides that, just doing it. Having said that, like I worked on it at one point, but I am pretty terrible at reading music. If I did a gig I did once. I once had a gig where I got offered this gig and I had to sight read music. It was for a musical. What was it called? Avenue Q. I remember the guy was like, hey, this is a super easy gig. I need a sub to do it. It paid like $20 or something pathetic. But he's like, hey, can you do this gig? It's really easy. So I was like, oh, okay, I got nothing else going on. He's like, okay, I'll send over the sheet music. It was a massive book, and I'm looking through the stuff, and I'm like, I cannot do this for the life of me. There's zero chance that I'm going to have any sort of success whatsoever playing through this thing. It's going to be an absolute, utter disaster. And so I gave that gig to someone who is more qualified. Moral of the story, I do not read music very well. Do I have any other hobbies besides music, says Basina. Yes, I try to keep... I try to live a fairly well-rounded life. I think that's important for being a healthy musician, is having balance, being able to have other things that you're happy about, things that you enjoy, things that you look forward to. And so for me, uh, there's a couple of things. One of them is sports. I play hockey all through the year. I also play soccer all through the year. That's something that I can just like look forward to every day whenever I'm playing those sports. Anything else that's going on in my world that's causing me stress, you just forget about it for that amount of time. Then go hang out in the dressing room, drink beers with your team after. Great time. Fitness in general is something I'm pretty passionate about. I try to work out at least 5 times a week, and that's something that's just during that hour, it's just like I'm able to think of something totally unrelated to music, and I think that's healthy. And video games too. Love me some video games. Just recently fired up God of War, and I'm excited to get into that one. Scientific Uppercut. Thank you so much, man. That is a very generous super chat, and I'm very, very grateful. Scientific Uppercut says, your music theory videos are great, and my wife and I really enjoy watching your 7 blah 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 that you didn't know blah blah blah. Your sense of humor is epic too. Thanks for everything from the band Scientific Uppercut. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and thanks for the super chat. I really enjoy making those videos too, those lists about whatever. To me, it's a lot of it's music history, and it's something I'm very passionate about, and there's a lot of things in the musical realm that I really love doing, and so I like to try to make sure that that I am focusing, or not necessarily focusing, but tapping into that stuff as well. So again, thank you so much, Scientific Uppercut. I will make sure that I check out your music after the stream. Julian Doe says, being musician / YouTuber, oh, hang on, it popped away. Julian Doe says, being a musician / YouTuber is your only job, or do you have a side one? Yes, being a musician / YouTuber is my only job. I do not have a side one. I haven't worked outside of the music industry. I've only had like 2 jobs outside of the music industry, and I did make a video once about the jobs that I've had. The 2 jobs I worked outside of the music industry were back when I was like 13, 14 years old. I reffed hockey. And then when I was 18 years old, I traveled to Australia, and I just did a variety of odd jobs when I was there. Pretty horrible stuff for the most part. Moving piles of dirt. Picking tomatoes was another one. Nothing very fun. And since then, I've always worked in the music industry. And right now, musician / YouTuber is, in fact, my full-time job. Basti Ricafrente says, what is your first guitar and do you love it? My first guitar that I ever was in possession of was, I think the brand name was a Nevada Strat. It was my neighbor's guitar that I borrowed from him, and it was like a knockoff of a knockoff. It wasn't a good guitar at all. I don't know where that guitar is right now. Didn't care for that much. And then I upgraded to a Squier Strat pack that I bought off of a friend. And that was like, I guess, my first guitar. It was fine. I have no emotional attachment to it. Sold it a long time ago. But what I consider my first real guitar, the one that I saved up for, the one that I really, really wanted to own, is that Telecaster that I play in a lot of my videos. And yes, I do deeply, deeply love that thing. Black Sunset says, my band sucks, although we play awesome individually. Help. Okay, I did make a video once on how to run a better band practice. Go check that one out. Yeah, I don't know what the exact issue is, but learning how to practice as a band is a fairly important thing to do, and it's different than practicing alone. Matthew Lysenko says, why is this stream so laggy? Yeah, great question. Great question. Let's see if I can fix this. You need to change the video resolution. The current... Oh, maybe that's why. Because I'm trying to stream way too high. Can I change that without leaving my stream? We will see. General output. Bitrate. So bear with me. I'm going to try to fix this. Okay, I see the problem. Okay, give me a second. I will be back. Okay, I'm back. Let's see if this works. Is this better? Let me know. I think this is better. From my end, it looks a little bit better. The problem was oh yeah, look at that. So there's a little green bar, or a little bar at the top of my screen, and it was bright red, which is obviously never a good sign. I just use the same settings I used to use. I figured it would be totally fine. Apparently not. And so I changed something, and I think that should be better. If it's not, I can go and twiddle around some more. Michael Cullen says, who's winning the Stanley Cup, my man? I seriously hope it's the Jets. The Jets are my team. I live in Winnipeg. I grew up rooting for the first version of the Jets. And then in 1996, they moved to Phoenix. Young Samurai guitarist was heartbroken. I like to think that was the day that the blues was born within me. So I'm rooting for the Jets, but I'm not going to stress out too much anymore. For the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, I was super stressed about it. And I figured at this point now, it's all gravy. It's not often that you see your team go this far, so I'm going to enjoy every second of it. And I'm not going to stress myself out, making myself miserable. So I hope it's the Jets, but if we don't go the distance, I won't cry myself to sleep for too many days. I'll give myself 1 day of being miserable. But that's it. Joe Likes Lemonade said, thoughts on Baby Metal? I discovered them for the first time. Well, I'd heard their name a ton of times, but I'd never really listened to them. And then one day I just decided to check them out, and I loved it. I think it was awesome. Again, guys, if you have questions about music, please just let me know your comments on them, because that to me is a much more interesting launching point for a discussion. Kellen O'Donnell says, have you heard Jimi Hendrix's Villanova Junction? If so, what did you think about it, specifically Woodstock live version? I know I've heard it. I've seen the Woodstock performance a bunch of times. I can't think of the song off the top of my head, which makes me think my comment would be there are Hendrix songs that I probably like more. My favorite stuff by him is the more mellow stuff, like Little Wing, Castles Made of Sand. That's the Hendrix stuff that I really, really personally love. And I think Jimi Hendrix, love his guitar playing, but I think what often gets overlooked is how great of a songwriter he was too. Doggo the Dog says, hey Samurai, should I get a Telecaster for my first guitar? That's a personal decision, and I think you should play a bunch. I think you should play a Telecaster, try out a Strat, try out Les Pauls, SGs, all types of things, and see which one you like most, and that's the guitar that you should get. Guitars are very personal, and yeah, you gotta figure out what works for you, and that's not a decision that I could ever make. Jesse McCree says, how are you doing, pal? I'm doing great, and I hope you're doing well as well. I saw somebody say thoughts on pineapple pizza. I actually love pineapple pizza. That might rustle some feathers, but pineapple, ham and pineapple, great flavor. Quite enjoy it. AK Music says, have you explored country beyond Chet Atkins? Any favorites? I have gone deep into the country world, pop country, old school country, the whole shebang. At one point in my life, I was traveling down to Nashville quite a bit. My plan in life, my goal was to be a full-time writer for country music, and that's kind of where my career path was headed. And I've talked about how I was going to do this in a couple other videos, but I'll try to keep it brief. Basically, my idea was I'm going to start a country band here in Winnipeg, and we're going to try to rise up in the ranks of the Canadian country music scene, and eventually when that dies off, I'll move down to Nashville, and with all those connections, I'll write music for a living. Because I think that's one of the things that I have a natural, much more of a natural proclivity for is writing music versus I think I'm a better writer than a guitar player, or at least at one point I was. But anyway, my idea for how that band was going to take off and how we were going to build a fan base was I had all these crazy ideas for YouTube videos. And we were going to make these, and we were going to gain attention that way. For one reason or another, the band didn't work out, and so I decided, okay, I'm just going to make some of those ideas on my own, which gave birth to this whole thing. And on top of that, I've played in a lot of old-style country bands, which I love. I love playing that type of music. the stuff from, you know, Alan Jackson going back to the Hank Williamses and the Merle Haggards and all that kind of stuff. Waylon Jennings, love playing that stuff. It's super fun to play that type of music. And of course, yeah, Chet Atkins, one of my favorites of all time as well. Chrono Shadow 2611 says, now that you mentioned that you like video games, have you ever played Nier Automata? If so, what do you think? I have not played that game, so I have no thoughts on it whatsoever. I will say that before, I've taken a little hiatus from video games. I was just too busy with life, never found time to play them. But before that, the last game I really dove deep into was Horizon Zero Dawn. Overwatch was one I went pretty deep into. Fallout 4. And right now, as of 2 days ago, I cracked open God of War, and I'm quite enjoying that one. Felix SR says, planning on making more videos like your Mario 3 video. I certainly am. I've been working on one since I think I started it in like November. It's just those videos take a ton of effort. And I've gotten all the music done for the one that I'm working on. Now it's about working on the video aspect of it. Hopefully it comes out before too long. But yeah, I will definitely be putting one of those out again soon. It's tough to do it now that my income is solely reliable on YouTube. It means I need to be putting out videos on the regular, and so I can't just take a month off, not put anything out, and work on one video, especially since I have no idea how it's going to perform. I might put out that video and it gets 10,000 views. It's tough to justify taking off an entire month to do that. So I've been slowly picking away at this one, and it will come out, and I think it's probably my favorite one of the video game ones that I've done. I think the music is some of the best stuff that I've done as far as those video games covers go. All right. Thoughts on collaborations. So this is Louis Lou says, thoughts on collaborations with people like Rob Scallon. I've met Rob a couple times. Rob is what you see is what you get. Like, just a really, really nice guy. And one of the things that stood out about the times that I met Rob is that he made me feel like the first time I met him, like I was just coming up in the YouTube world, if you want to say that. I don't know, I had like 10,000 subscribers, and he made it feel like I was totally on the same level as him. It was like we'd been friends he made me feel like I'd been friends with him for a while. And to me, like, that kind of stuff goes a long way. So I can vouch for him, saying that he's just a really, really cool, really nice guy. Will I ever collaborate with him? If it feels right, I would totally love to do it. But it's one of those things where I don't like to force collaborations. I like to be in the same room when I work with someone, which is one of the reasons why I haven't done a ton of collabs, because not a lot of YouTubers live in Winnipeg. Will it happen one day? I hope so. If not, that's okay too. But for me, collaborations have got to just feel natural and not feel forced. One of the ones that I did do that was like that was I did a video with Andrew Wong, who does a bunch of crazy musical related stuff. And we were both in LA at the time, and we did a video where we played a song using the apps on our phones. So I think you can find that on his channel, or just Google Andrew Wong, Samurai Guitarist. I'm sure more stuff like that will happen in the future, but nothing planned at the moment. Blake Jensen says, what picks do you use? I use these little Dunlop green Crocodile Tortex ones, 1.5 millimeters. Been using these for a while. I've tried other things. I always keep coming back to these. I have no sort of deal or anything with Dunlop, though I have reached out to them a couple times, but I have not heard back from them. Maybe one day I'll get the official Samurai Guitarist Dunlop pick. But anyway, yeah, these are the ones I use. These are the best. Love them, and they're cheap. Okay, let's see what else you guys are saying. Jen Walters must die. Oh, tough break for Jen. Is that an ex-girlfriend or something? Jen Walters must die says, what are your thoughts on Fender's HH series? I personally use an HH Telecaster. I absolutely love it, and it's one of my favorite guitars, but half the people I show it to think it's... Oh, where did that comment go? Just jumped away. It's a bastardization. So I actually am not much of a gear guy at all. The things that really interest me with gear are really weird things, like those weird pedals, strange looking guitars. I don't even really know what the HH Telecaster is. when I used to work at the music store, I was much more in tune with this kind of stuff. I kind of just, I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time on gear, which is why you don't hear me talking about a lot of it on my channel. Um, I suspect. I mean, here's my thoughts on gear. If you like it and it sounds good, that's what that's what matters, and that's the only thing that really matters. Mitch Joe says, fellow Winnipegger here. What's your opinion on Brian Bowman and what he has done with the city? He's asking about our mayor. I wish I was a little bit more. I don't really have. I'm not super in tune with what he's done, the changes he's made. I don't think I would be qualified or know enough to comment on it. All I will say is the other day I saw him at the walking to the Jets whiteout party, and I waved at him. He waved back. That was nice. I should be more in the know there. For I don't know. There's a lot of things to worry yourself about, and I probably should be more concerned about local stuff. But to be honest, I am not. Besides guitar, what other instruments do you play? Asks Renal Mams. Renal Mams. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. So I only really consider myself a guitar player. I tinker around on the keyboard, and the piano makes sense to me. I can conceptualize it, but I have no sort of muscle memory on it. And that's the same with a lot of other things. The bass, I would probably be my second instrument. I have a lot of fun playing the bass, but I don't consider myself a bass player by any means. When I pick up an instrument, I relate it all back to guitar. Guitar is my first language, and it would be like if I were to speak French, I would be thinking, oh, in my head, I'm imagining English words, and then I'm trying to translate them to French. Same thing with banjo, same thing with mandolin. I see a mandolin as an upside-down guitar with that's missing two strings. When I play a ukulele, I see it as a guitar with a capo on the 5th fret, missing a couple strings. So really, I just consider myself a guitar player, though I can usually mess around enough on other things to make it sound decent. Do we freeze up here? Okay, I think we're good. If the stream dies or anything, let me know, and I will do my best to fix it, or if it looks terrible on your end. Felix SR says, do you have natural talent, or do you practice a lot? That's a great question, and I think it's... I mean, it's hard to say. I was never really... I didn't grow up playing guitar or playing music. Like, I didn't touch guitar until I was 13 years old. I didn't grow up in a musical household. I was by no means a prodigy or anything that. When I did start really working on guitar, I found that I progressed like decently fast. So in that sense, maybe I do have natural talent. It's hard to say, but it was something. Did my stream just die? What's going on, YouTube? Okay, I think the stream is back. YouTube's throwing me off. I was chatting about natural talent. I don't know where it cut off or what you guys heard. So I might repeat myself, so apologies. Do I have natural talent? I don't really think so. I didn't grow up in a house with a lot of... I mean, we listen to music, but no more than the average family. Like, none of my siblings or family members are really deep into music, playing music or anything like that. Didn't grow up playing guitar. I didn't start playing guitar until I was 13. And when I did, I progressed pretty fast, but that's only because I really worked hard on it. I practiced a lot. When I was in university, I was practicing 5+ hours a day and spending the entire day at school doing music. And even before that, I practiced a lot. So I would say it's more just the practice that went into it. Angelo Sarmiento, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. He says, would you do a collab with Mike from Become the Night? If so, what would you guys do? Rock On from Texas? Rock On right back from Winnipeg? Yeah, I definitely wouldn't rule it out. Mike's a friend of mine. We've chatted before, and I think it's one of those things I mentioned about collabs. If it feels right, if we can both get in the same room, I would definitely be into it. I don't know exactly what we would do, but I would... if it felt right and I felt like this is a video that I'd be happy to release into the world, I would definitely be keen on doing it. Ooh, someone said fellow Matt Mays and El Torpedo lover, Matt Haverstock. Massive fan of Matt Mays. He's a Canadian rock and roll musician, folky rock elements of like a little bit of country twang in there. Absolutely love him. It's if you like Neil Young type stuff, I think you'd really like Matt Mays and El Torpedo. I've seen him tons of times in concert. Hopefully one day I'll meet him. Bacon Bits says, who are other guitarists, YouTubers that you recommend to watch? I don't really watch much music related content on YouTube. When I'm not working, I try to just get away from it in general. So the YouTubers that I watch usually have nothing to do with music whatsoever. It depends on what you're trying to do. As far as like guitarists like playing guitar, I'd say Mateus Asado is on a high level, and he's one of my favorites. I would check him out. There is a girl on Snapchat, or not Snapchat, on Instagram I follow called Guitariana, and she is awesome. There's another guy who is a local, well, he's from Winnipeg. His name's Ariel Posen, and he's just like on a whole other level as well. He's incredibly skilled, and like growing up, we ran in similar circles, and I had the opportunity to watch him play a lot, and he was always someone that I looked up to as far as like his guitar skills went. And so check him out. Ariel Posen, Guitariana, and the other one I recommended was Mateus Asado. Those are three of my favorites. Check him out. Oh, also Joey Landreth. Same story with Ariel. He grew up in Winnipeg. Same circles. I had the pleasure of seeing him play a lot. Amazing slide player. Like on the level with the best slide players that have ever existed, in my opinion. Like right up there with Derek Trucks, Dwayne Allman, Ry Cooter, Joey Landreth. Check him out. Let's see what else you guys have to say here. What's your opinion on band Cage the Elephant? Never heard that. Is my stream froze again? Man, I pay so much money for my internet connection. You'd think this would work well. I don't know if this is an internet or a YouTube problem, but my apologies about the stream. Okay, we're back. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I'm on my 5G network. Maybe I'm gonna have to call my internet service provider and get on their case again, which I've done before. Anyway, okay. Well, if we're back, let's keep this chat going. What are your thoughts on bass guitar? I'm a guitarist, but sometimes I prefer to hear a good bass line, says Urza. It's an equally important part of the music making process as the guitar part. It's different, and I enjoy playing it, and I love listening to an amazing bass line. To me, an amazing bass line can totally be the difference maker. AK Music says I recommend Jim Lill's channel. Yeah, Jim Lill, I follow him as well, and he's a cool guy, and I would recommend checking him out too, especially if you're into country stuff. Johnny Lou says, dude, that video you did with everyday sounds while playing guitar was freaking sweet. Thank you so much, Johnny. I'm glad you enjoyed it. That was a ton of fun to make. I'm always looking for... Oh, man, did this stream die again? What is the deal here? Why is my stream health so terrible? My apologies about the stream. I'm going to look into this and try to figure out why this is going... Why it's freezing so much. But for now... nothing I can do. Felix SR has a question about Patreon. How many % of the money you make come from Patreon? Right now, it's about 50%. It changes depending on if I have any brand deals coming in. And those are the things where I talk about a product and maybe integrate that product into a video. If I have a month where I get one of those or two of those, that makes up a large percentage. Lately, those haven't been coming in as much, and I've also have been very selective about what I work with, just to make sure that I'm not plugging some garbage. I like to make sure that when I work with somebody, it's a product that I do believe in. So anyway, to answer your question briefly, right now 50%, and so it's a big part of what I do. Echo Echo Camer Survivor says, why is it that if people with poor skills never question themselves and go the easy route, but cry like babies if you kick them out or leave the band and take it personal? I think it's probably one of the reasons they have poor skills is the fact that that mentality of blaming everyone else probably is partly tied into the mentality of never developing those skills to begin with. So I think those things make them hand in hand. People with good attitudes generally find a way to develop skills. Or if they're at the early stages, you can just kind of tell, hey, I can tell that this person's going to do good things with their instrument. When I used to teach music, I had like 40 some students one year. I taught guitar. Yeah, and I had a ton of students, and most of it was pretty terrible, and I was just like basically babysitting for half an hour. But every now and then there would be one student or two students, and you could tell, even when they were just starting, you could say, this guy's going to be, he's going to be a good student, or she's going to be a good student. They're going to do good things with their instrument. You could tell instantly. A lot of it is attitude. That's just like, that's part of life. Attitude goes a lot further than skill or luck or anything like that. Having the right attitude and work ethic will open a ton of doors. Man, what is going on with this stream? I am a little bothered by that. After this is done, I'm gonna do some tests on my internet to make sure that next time we do this is all fixed. Lee Hinman says, what's the best way to find other people to jam/play with? Make an effort to do it. I also made a video once on developing musical relationships, and that would be a worthwhile one to check out. Noah St. Hilaire says, do you think the Jets are going to win tonight? Yeah, I think we're going to have a big bounce back game. I think, generally speaking, this team's been able to answer back when they've had not great games, and I think tonight will be one. Onur Yemisen says, unrelated question, how much cannabis you consume? Literally zero. If I took a drug test right now, it would be clean as could be. Wasn't always the case, but now I've kind of, I guess, grown out of it, or I'm not sure what it is, but I just have no desire anymore. If you do, power to you. If not, that's cool too. Felix SR says, how often do you stream? I used to do it every week, but I haven't done it for a long time. I'd like to get doing it again fairly regularly. I don't know how often it'll be. I'm not going to commit to like a weekly stream or anything like that, but if I can, I don't know. I guess it's just going to be when I feel like doing it. I kind of just was thinking to myself today, I felt like streaming, so I got on top of it. And if people keep coming back, I'll keep doing it. We'll see. Wolfgang Keim says, greetings from Germany. Hello, Wolfgang. Greetings from Winnipeg. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's up. My apologies again about the stream. I don't know why it hates me. Okay, I'm going to stop the stream for a second, and I'm going to put it on a lower setting to see if that helps. Okay, I'm hoping this is going to be, I'm hoping this will fix it. We'll see. Anyway, let's get back to this. Let's get back to the old chat. Adam Fox says, unfortunately, our ISP doesn't feel like streaming today. No, it does not. Everyone's taking the day off to get hyped for the Jets game. Valen Birchtold says, any advice for starting guitar YouTuber? Man, this thing's cutting out, killing me here, killing me, Smalls. Starting guitar on YouTube. My theory when I first started guitar was there are essentially three ways to build a fan base. One, you get lucky. You can't prepare for that. You do everything you can to try to make that happen, but you you put yourself in situations where you get lucky, but for the most part, that's something that's out of your control. Number 2, you do something that other people have done, but you do it better. I'm watching the stream. I can't tell if it's cutting out. I really hope it's not. Killing me here, YouTube. Sorry if I'm just staring at the camera right now. I'm trying to figure out how to fix this thing. To me, it looks like it's cutting in and out a bunch. I wonder if this is my settings. Downscaling, video bitrate, audio bitrate. Maybe my bitrate is too high. Okay, I'm going to stop this again to try to fix the stream. All right, we'll see if that fixed it. If not, we might just call it a day here. All right. Well, gonna do my best. If it still sucks, then we're gonna call it a day, and I'll wish you all the best of weekends. We'll see if it's better, and I will try to make an effort to fix this for next time. Even if it does require me to call up my internet service provider and wait on hold for 30 minutes and then have a serious chat with them. But maybe we're better now. Okay, so my apologies. Sometimes life gets in your way. Someone asked me how to develop my best advice for doing YouTube, and I said there's 3 ways that I've seen that you can develop a fan base. 1, get lucky. 2, do something that everyone else is doing and do it better than them, or try to do something totally different. And for me, I thought these 2 options weren't realistic, so I just tried to do something totally different, and that's why when I first started doing YouTube, I just did these crazy, wacky musical ideas, and to me, that's what helped get this thing going. So, that's been my experience so far. Scrolling down, I hope people who ask these questions are still around. If not, then I'll probably answer them anyway. How often do you bump into people who recognize you from your YouTube channel? It depends on where I am. I'd say like fairly often. If I go out to a place that's fairly busy, like I went to a Jets game the other day, and I think 1 or 2 people recognized me. Generally speaking, if I just kind of go out and about, it's not rare that it happens, but it doesn't happen every time, which is pretty cool. I love when people come up and say hi. It's always fun to chat with people who recognize me, and everyone I've met has been really, really cool so far. So it's great. If I go to the music store, that's kind of a more condensed version of the people who would know who I am. So if I go to the music store, that's where it will happen more often. Okay, I think, fingers crossed, I think this internet's rolling along pretty decently. As soon as I said that, the stream thing turns orange, which is not as good as green. Okay, let's get some more questions here. Someone commented mashed potatoes. I enjoy mashed potatoes. Haven't had them for a while. Mashed potatoes are great. Please answer, says Darth Vader. Okay, I will do it. I love Foo Fighters for their melodies and Dave Grohl. Do you my favorite song? 2 songs. My favorite song is Walk. What is your favorite Foo song and thoughts on newer Foo stuff? I honestly don't really know a lot of Foo Fighters. It's whatever comes on the radio is the stuff I would know. I probably would recognize it if I heard it, but I wouldn't say I have a favorite one, as they've never been a band that I've gotten deep into. Though when I hear them, I don't change the station. So I do have a lot of respect for them. Ubay says, "Are you coming to Nashville for Summer NAMM?" I am not coming to Nashville for Summer NAMM. I do LA for Winter NAMM. LA is a much easier trip for me because I have family there and I can stay with them. Whereas with Nashville, it's Nashville, yeah, I have to fly down there and I don't have a place to stay, so it gets expensive pretty quick. What's a good practice routine to develop rhythm? The best thing to do for your rhythm, find a way to incorporate the metronome as much as possible. There's almost nothing you can do that you can't incorporate the metronome. So just use it as often as you can. Natty K99 says, what's the most awkward music experience you've had? I actually just filmed a video about my nightmare gigs, and so stay tuned and you can hear about those I'll probably put that out sometime this week. Dude maybe says, crash at my place in Nashville. Only condition is you have to wear a Preds jersey. I will not be wearing a Preds jersey. Me and Dude maybe had a bet about the last series where the Jets played the Preds. And if I lost, I had to wear a Nashville Predators jersey or a t-shirt on for a video. And I'm very happy that I don't. Owen Hoffer says, you should come do a speech about guitar at St. Anne Collegiate. Tell him to shoot me an email. I'd be happy to come out there if St. Anne is the St. Anne's that I'm thinking of. But I would, it's something I'd like to do more is put on or do things where I'm talking to people and meeting people and more of a live experience. And I've been thinking about how I can incorporate that in what I do. Christopher Sebastian says, what are the best jazz standards to learn how to play as an advanced guitarist? Trying one last time. I would say like the ones that you like the best are the best ones. My favorites include There Will Never Be Another You, Summertime's a great song. Stella by Starlight's a tough one, but also a really good one. All the Things You Are is a great one. Find the ones that you gravitate towards. Which country do you live in, says Felix SR. I live in Canada, which is that big landmass above the United States. Jonathan Figueroa says, favorite food? Love me some Japanese food, love me some sushi. That would probably be out there, but I'm a massive fan of all types of foods, and I'm not a picky eater, and I'm a massive food lover, so hard for me to pick a favorite. Sujata says, what was your first guitar? I mentioned this earlier on the stream. It was a knockoff Strat Nevada thing, and then I upgraded to a Squier Stratocaster. Edison says, do you ever come to Vancouver? I have flown through the airport so many times, but I haven't really spent much time there. I definitely would like to. There's a lot of places I'd like to go, and I think once I start getting the clinics going, Vancouver will definitely be a place I do one. One badass Pimpardero says, as a Canadian, do you apologize a lot? Let me tell you about the most Canadian experience I've ever had in my life. I was at a hockey game, and I bumped into something, and I thought it was a person, and I apologized. I said sorry, only to realize that I had bumped into just like an inanimate object. I think it was the railing. So I bumped into a railing and apologized to it at a hockey game. That's when I knew I'm truly a Canuck. 424. Oh, I like this question. What are some of your favorite videos that you've made on your channel? There are some that were a ton to make, and usually the ones where I work with other people and do collabs are the most fun to make. But as far as the ones that I look back on and say, hey, that was pretty cool, the ones that stand out that never really got a lot of traction are the one where I did the time lapse over the course of a year in my parents' backyard. It's called, I can't remember what I titled it. It's called like A Year-Long Time Lapse or Buri in E minor. And every week for a year, I went into the backyard and shot one bar of the song, and I recorded it, filmed it, and in the exact same spot, I did that for like 52 times. And so I lined them all up, and you just see the seasons change, and you see my hair grow. To me, that was one of the coolest ones. Who inspired me to start guitar, says Jonathan Figueroa. That would have been Blink-182. Dr. Skinny Legs asks, what would you tell a person who's considering studying music in college. Here's the biggest thing I would tell you is figure out a plan of how you're going to use that information to build a career and make money. If you aren't always thinking about that at some point, if you're not always thinking about that at every point along the road, it's going to be really tough, because as soon as you graduate, it's not like you're just given a job or you have just jobs waiting for you. If you're something like a doctor, I'd say the amount of doctors who graduate from medical school and find a job in that industry is probably close to 100. The amount of musicians who find full-time work in the music industry is probably really quite low. So I would say be thinking about how you're going to use this information to work for you, because that's the thing. You need to use that information. You need to use what you learn to develop your career. So that's what I would say. Acid Drop Baby Lol says, at what age did you start to play, and did you play at parties or just places? I started playing when I was 13 years old, and then we started my band. The first gigs we started doing were just like little things where it was called music at lunch at my high school, and we would just like set up our music in like in the hallway, or we set up our gear in kind of the main corridor, and we would play Aerosmith covers and just whatever we could think of, and that's where I started playing. How do you get over the awkwardness of talking to the camera when you make videos? I'm still working towards this goal. To me, it was just doing it a million times and just doing it over and over again. Repetition makes perfection. If you look at the first videos where I'm talking to the camera, pretty weird, pretty awkward, not great. It's something that I've definitely seen myself get better at, and it was never like a conscious effort. I wanted to get better, but to me, it was just doing it over and over again. Picking up the things you think you don't like and changing those things. What if you're a bit older and still not able to make a career with your music? Well, I think if you're not able to make a career with your music, I think it's important to be able to say, okay, I'm going to pursue something that provides me with at least some level of joy and happiness, but I also have time to pursue music. Or I have a job that allows me to do my music in my free time and make sure that I'm getting as much joy as possible out of that music, even if I'm not able to support myself with it. It's something I've considered many times along the road. It was like, man, if I had a full-time job where I worked 9 to 5 and I could just get home and do whatever I wanted with music, that would be pretty cool. So I think it's possible. I think you can get a lot of fulfillment even if you're not a professional. Marinal Man says, follow-up question. How many takes did you have to do your first talking video? I have no idea. I don't really remember. A lot of everything I do is whenever I talk to the camera, like the stuff like the Sensei series, I script it all out. So I usually I find I don't have that skill that some people have where they can just talk to the camera and be able to present all their ideas clearly and articulate all those little things that they want to get out. If I try to do that, it's a mess and I forget about things and I say ums and ahs. And so what I'll do is I write it all out and then I just recite that for the camera, and usually that takes a little bit of time. Sujata says, has anyone asked about his hair care routine yet? A lot of people have over the course of my YouTubing have asked me about what I do for my hair. I'd say it's like 97% genetics, but what I do, take a shower. I only shampoo probably once a week, but condition every day. That would be it. Raphael Kinderman says, do you have any advice for dealing with self-doubt in the sense that I would like to study and play music, but I'm afraid I lack that special connection to the art that I see in my idols? Well, I mean, what is that special connection? Are you talking about like a love for it? Because if you do lack the love that your idols have, then yeah, don't pursue it if you don't really, really deeply love it. If you're talking about maybe a talent or a skill thing, got to keep in mind that that's something you develop with time. If you saw me playing guitar before I went to music school and really started developing and honing my techniques, you would say, hey, I don't know if this guy has what it takes. In fact, I remember very specifically before I auditioned to the school that I wanted to get into, I met with a guy here in Winnipeg who I think he had some connections. I can't remember how I knew him, but whatever. And he was a musician, and I played some guitar for him, and he was like, he straight up told me, he's like, I don't think you're gonna get in. And so my point that I'm trying to make is that you learn a lot of those things that I think many people would require or consider special. I am the guitar player that I am now purely because of those 5 years that I spent honing my skills in Toronto. Hope that's valuable. I'm quite happy that the stream seems to be fixing itself. I changed some settings, so that's pretty cool. I'm gonna wrap things up pretty soon. I need to do a little bit of work before I start watching this Jets game, which is probably gonna stress me out for 3 straight hours. Do you have a particular lighting setup? Care to elaborate? Says One Voice Incorporated. Yeah, what I do, I usually use the 3 lighting system, which is I have 3 lights. 2 of them are set up right now. One of them provides the main light. One of them gets rid of some of the shadows, and then the one behind you separates you from the background. And so that's pretty much what I use every single time. Someone says, Ali Villegas says, was there a moment that specifically suddenly changed your life as a guitarist? I think there's been a lot of those moments. One particular one was seeing a friend of mine have a massively huge viral video, something like 200 million views. And then I think seeing that and just being able to really think to myself, wow, we're in the same place musically. We were roommates. We played in a ton of bands together. And if he's able to have all that success with that, maybe I'm able to do that too. And that was a huge inspiration for me doing YouTube. So I'd say that stands out. Tristan Winter says, have you heard John Mayer's new single, New Light? If so, what do you think about it? The only thing I'm going to say, if you guys want to know my thoughts on a song, band, record, let me know what you think about it first. To me, that's a more interesting launching point. I listened to the song New Light, really enjoyed it. I love pretty much everything John Mayer does. And yeah, I really quite enjoyed it. I like how John Mayer, he's always trying new things. He doesn't stay in one path, and he's always looking for new things. I think that's pretty cool. Let's do some more questions here. Owen Hoffer says, am I going to Metallica? I am not. As of yet, I don't have any plans on going. If tickets somehow came into my possession, I would go, though. Depending on when it is. I don't really know when it is. Rick Pin says, what's your favorite Arctic Monkeys album? I don't have one. I don't think I've ever listened to a full Arctic Monkeys album. Oh man, I'm gonna butcher your name. My apologies. Ruaridi. Davidson says, what musical theory do you think is the most important for someone focusing on melody? I think it all works together, and I think you kind of have to have all of it. You need to understand why chords work, how melodies interact with it. It's all kind of like a big thing that works together. Without one piece of it, you're missing. It's all gonna fall apart. Is what I would say. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up in about 5 minutes, just letting you guys know, because I do have a couple little things I do before I fire up the Jets game and get hyped on that. Ali Villegas says, do you think you are underrated? Because I do. Your content is so creative. Thank you so much for that sentiment. Here's a little thought. I don't think anyone is deserving of an audience. I don't think anyone has some sort of God-given right to be successful. I think it's you achieve whatever you achieve, and that is based on how hard you work and what you do. And I think I'm very happy that people just tune into what I do to begin with. Would I like having more people view my videos? Yeah, absolutely. It'd be amazing. My goal when I started YouTube was to get to the 1 million mark, and that's a long, long way away. But just because you work hard doesn't mean you are deserving of an audience. And so the fact that I'm able to do this for a living, to me, that was a huge, huge milestone, and that in itself makes me happy. And I think part of never really being, I don't think I'll ever really be satisfied with how many people watch my video, and I think I'll always want more. And I think that's part of the thing that keeps you inspired to do this. I hope that's an adequate answer. Adam Fox says, do you have any pregame rituals? As far as Jets, no. As far as like my own personal hockey games, I usually park in more or less the same spot every time. And I don't know, it doesn't bother me if I don't, but it's kind of the habit. Dress in the same way. Like I put on the equipment the same way every time. One of the things that I used to do that I've stopped doing is drinking beer before every game. I used to have one or two in the dressing room before the game, and I find I play significantly better when I don't do that. So I've kind of stopped doing that, but it'll probably come back. That's half the fun. That's why they call it beer league. Dylan, my man, my friend Dylan Foss pledges, or he super chats for $5 and says, "Go Jets, go." Dylan's a fellow Canadian, and so he's feeling the excitement about that Jets playoff run. Thank you, Dylan. I hope you're doing well, my man. Rohan Shaw says, "Are you one of those people who only wears a Guns N' Roses shirt to look cool and only knows Sweet Child of Mine?" I'll let you be the judge of that one. But maybe I'll just answer. Guns N' Roses was one of my favorite bands growing up. / huge inspiration. Some of the first guitar books I ever bought were these ones right here. The Guns N' Roses Complete. And there's another one there. So I wouldn't say so. I was really obsessed with Guns N' Roses back in the day. And I got this shirt actually from their concert that they played in Winnipeg. And that was to me like my teenage dream come true. I used to scour the internet. Kazaa, BearShare, whatever, looking for Guns N' Roses videos I hadn't seen. So no, I would not say that's the case. Okay, guys, I'm going to start wrapping this up soon, which makes me sad because I'm really quite enjoying this, but I'll have to do this again in the future. I think I've sorted out these internet issues, assuming it stays this way. Let's do 3 more questions, and then I'm going to shut her down. Do you like Gibson or Fender better, says Aiden Lay? I don't really have a preference. I have 2 Fender guitars, 1 Gibson guitar. I can't say why exactly that is. I wouldn't say I really have a preference. I'm sure there's Gibsons that I would like as much. My dream guitar is a Gibson. And I went down to the Gibson showroom back in January and shot a video there where I played all the guitars they had there, which was quite fun. And check out that video. The guys who work at Gibson, super cool too, or at least the guys that I know. I don't know any of the upper management, but the guys who I know who work at Gibson are super cool guys. 424 recording. Do you do regular live streaming? This is cool. I think I'd like to bring it back. Last summer I did it every week, and then I kind of got burnt out on it. But I would like to bring it back. This is fun. It's a nice way to interact with you guys. Okay, one more question. Let's make it a good one here. Oh, and just as I say that, the stream health turns to perfect. There's a little bar above my stream that I'm watching, and it shows me how well or how good my stream is doing. And as soon as I said I'm going to shut her down, it went to great. Okay, last one here. Let's see what you guys are saying. I'm going to try to find a real juicy good one that I can really sink my teeth into. One more question. Okay, here's a good one. Oh, it just jumped away. So what the chat here is kind of weird. It always like jumps down when people leave a new comment. And so the one I was about to read just blasted away. Okay, so Rohin Shah says, she says, do I have any plans on releasing an album? Yes. I haven't made a ton of work on it or a ton of traction on it, but that is definitely in my in my plans. As soon as I finish off this, I've been kind of putting a lot of my free time into working on this one big video game video, and when that's done, I'm going to start putting some more time into doing a couple tracks and at least trying to make like a 8-9 song album and putting that out. All right. Did my stream just freeze? No, it's still there. Okay, that's it for today, guys. I got to wrap this up. I got a couple little things that I got to work on before I go and watch the hockey game. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching my videos. It means the world to me that I have anyone at all that watches what I do, and it's super cool that you guys tune in on the regular. So you know the routine, 2 videos every week. If you like what I do, keep on checking it out. Until next time, as always, thank you all for watching. I'm Samurai Guitarist, and I will see you again soon.